All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Group Chart Analysis. It is Thursday, August 9th, 2018. It is the final chart analysis of the week. For those of you that have been watching this whole week, I hope you guys made some money. Last night was really good. Most of the pairs that I've been wondering, and if you guys haven't realized by now, my favorite pairs are pretty much the first ones that I go over. I like Euro USD, Gold, GU, and AU. Those are like my top pairs. And then occasionally when there's really good setups, I'll look at other pairs as well. I don't really like UCheap that much. I mean, I do like to play with UJ sometimes, depending on if the setup's good. But the JPY at the end's always a little fucking weird. But I do like these first four, so that's why I mainly trade these. But last night for these pairs did very, very well. So if you guys, remember from the analysis last night, we had discussed that it came back to retest this blueberry, which is the Mayo in the 1 hour. And that from earlier this week, we also had the supply and demand zones drawn out. So they're still drawn out here. They're still valid. As you guys can see, it went up to that the other night, and it's been bouncing off it. And it literally, again, last night did the same thing, and it had dropped right down to the recent low, which is where we would have put our take profit, and it smashed it. It literally went right through it, and now it's consolidating on. It's a little divergent. So we're probably going to see a little pullback on that aspect of it. But let me look at these higher time frames, see if there's something that we can see. All right, so the one thing that I see is that here's the overall low. If we're looking at wicks, right there on this. That's the overall low. Notice how it did not touch it yet. It is divergent on the 4 hour. It's actually extremely oversold. So we are potentially going into next week because tonight is a trap day. But if we're looking at the technical aspect of it, because it's in the fringe and it hasn't broken out this low, this thing is still valid for a shot up tonight towards that 4 hour water again. I'm not sure if there's news. I could check. There might be some news on the Forex factories for those of you that follow it. Let me see real quick. I'm on my phone right now. So let's say August 9th. So let's go to the 10th. So there's GBP news at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Wait, am I still on Eastern Standard Time here? No, this is still Pacific. I'm sorry. So 4:30 a.m. GBP has a lot of, there's actually all hell of folders. So that's crazy. And then at 5:30, so 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, CAD and USD. So they're all red folders. So there is going to be news in the morning. It is a trap day, so the volatility could push this thing all the way back up, especially since it's in that oversold zone. It's divergent. It's hitting the low. It didn't take it out. So we'll be seeing some sort of push up on that. It's divergent on the hour. It is shark finning on the hour as well. I need to see a little bit better setup here on the 15-minute. Let me get a precise entry. All right, so what I'm seeing here, and this is just short-term, guys. This isn't anything to like take a trade right now, but if you're seeing this, it's hitting this stagnant line, this wall, or should I say floor, in the almost extreme oversold zone, and it is also going down. So potentially we could be seeing a setup for a nice W coming up towards like London session. And then once that comes up to retest this low, if it doesn't take it out, we'll be seeing that push up to hit that water first. So the water will come across like this, and then what's going to happen is it's either going to bounce off of it and continue to break down this low and continue with the overall trend, which we think is, which I know will be down, or we're going to look for it to break it and then do some sort of move, either a pullback and then rise, or a consolidation then rise. There's going to be something, but ideally you're going to want to see this thing break that water first, because as soon as it breaks that water, it's going to the Mayo, which is the 1 hour water, which is a perfect pullback. And that should be about, if we're looking at pips from where it's at now to here, 30-something pips, which is, it's good for Euro USD. Euro USD, it's good to get 20 to 30 pips on that pair. But that's what we'll be looking for tonight. It hasn't broken that low, and it still is valid for that buy. So let's go to gold. Gold has been kind of tripping out all week, but if you guys look at this, I drew these out on a smaller time frame, which still is valid for these pairs. And I'll come across here. Sorry. So last night it wicked right up to the supply and demand zone. It stayed divergent. It bounced off the blueberry and it continued down. But this is also a pair that I've been telling you guys for the last couple of days to kind of avoid, because it's in the fringe. It's consolidating. There is no trend. There's a high up top. There's a low at the bottom. Everything right now is in the middle. The EMAs are really tight. Like, this thing is going to be waiting for news. I guarantee this moves during the news tomorrow at 8:30. So whatever happens to the dollar tomorrow is going to affect the gold. It's going to affect it. There's no reason that this thing should be consolidating unless it's going to be an economic event, which based off of what we're seeing right now, it's going to be something big. So just pay attention to gold. I wouldn't really trade it, especially since it's Friday and it's a trap day. The volatility on this is going to be ridiculous coming 8:30. Just be really careful. Try finding other pairs to play. But the one thing I can say is play between the highs and the lows here. It's in the middle right now, so what I suggest is waiting for it to either come up and then shoot down, or for it to shoot down and come up. You don't want to play in the middle at all. Yeah, that's death. You're guessing at this point. Let's go to GU. So this pair has news at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Last night we had it for a continued shot down into this range right here, the supply and demand zone that had actually been hit over a year ago. And that's where I had it going. It wasn't really the best divergence that I liked, but right now it's still divergent, which is leading me to believe that this pound, depending on if the news is positive or not, may push this thing back up for a pullback, not an actual reversal here. I think it is due for a pullback to at least the 1 hour Mayo, which would be ideal because that is the 4 hour water. The 4 hour water is perfect pullbacks for higher time frames. So in that case, what we're going to have to see is some sort of push up, breaks that water, goes up to that Mayo, and then we would be able to take our profit there. But I don't think it's going to be a fluid motion like that. I think what's going to happen is it's going to consolidate, and then it's going to be like a straight shot up. I think that's what's going to happen. And if it does do this, we'll be seeing it consolidate out as soon as it hits that high. And then going in the next week, it might start low, and then we'll see that continued push up to that overall blueberry here for a pullback zone. I think it's going to come back and actually retest this bright green zone. That's going to be a nice little pullback area, and then we'll be able to catch that thing all the way back down. So just be careful on GU. We'll see how it all goes. It's kind of correlating with EU right now. I think EU is going to shoot up as well. But I don't know what the news is. I have to look at the FX Street to see if the news is positive or negative against the dollar, because that's really going to be the dictating, thing right here. There's actually AUD. So this is AUD USD. There's news on that pair in 7 minutes. So last night we had predicted, and I was telling you guys from 2 nights ago that once it hit this high, the only thing you're going to be looking for is the retest of that high and then the drop. In this case, it did drop. It stayed divergent as shit. It stop hunted high during Asian session, and then it dropped all the way down to almost the recent low of this session of last week, early this week. And it was a nice sell. I think we were telling you guys to sell this on the actual account, on the analysis. So if you guys see how it's been consolidating here, it's been looking nice. You got like highs up here, right there. And you have the lows down here, there. So doing a lot of stuff. So it's been getting a little crazy. But in this case, I am going to tell you to be careful. Most of these pairs that are in consolidation right now, I'm just going to tell you to just be careful because of the news. All right, just be careful. This thing there is no divergence on the hour. So that leads me to believe that we could possibly be seeing this thing continue to drop. But once it drops, this thing could have the news push it down, because this is an AUD pair. There's news in 5 minutes. The news could shoot it down. Come New York session, this thing could shoot all the way back up, because this is a low. This is a supply and demand zone, and it's a support line. So if it shoots down during Asian session now, we'll be looking for this thing to bounce off of the wicket throw pattern to shoot all the way back up during New York session. That's what I would say ideally. So we'll be seeing how that plays out. The 4 hours still inside, so I'm going to be looking for overall buys on this. Just be careful of the news that comes out in 5 minutes. We'll come back on it because I'll still be looking at the charts. U-Chief, same thing. I haven't liked it this entire week. It's been doing a lot of crazy shit. Hasn't been my favorite pair in a while because of the amount of consolidation it's been doing over the last couple months. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3 months. I remember when this thing was continuing all the way up here earlier this year. And now it's just kind of been in this high and low state. It's in the middle of the low and the high here, and I don't know. I don't like that. I hate when it does that. There's nothing to trade. The only reason that you would be trading this right now is if you were, you know, scalping or doing some sort of intraday trading where you get in for, you know, 20 pips and you're out. But I don't believe that that's a good amount of trading. So this thing is slowly, gradually going down towards the low. Actually, you see it creeping beneath that stationary 50, which is telling me to start looking for this thing to drop. All right. So technical aspect of it, we'll be looking for it to drop, but at the same time, it's in the middle, which is what I don't like. Let me see this 4 hour. This 4 hour, it looks still good for a sell, to be completely honest, guys. I think it's gonna come down to this massive trend line that we have here, the one that we had called out before. You know, I was saying that if it broke this trend line here, it was going to go down to the next one. It almost did. It almost did, but I still think it has time. I still think it has time to do so. So be looking for this thing to drop overall, and you know, watch out for the currency. See how the market's affected during I was going to say American session, New York session. UJ, if you guys see here, it retested that supply and demand zone, and it shot up. So the first place that we wanted this thing to go to was that water. It did so, went up to the water, bounced off the blueberry as well, and now it's dropping again. Now this thing's going to be consolidating. I don't think we're going to see a lot of movement from this pair until New York session. Like I said, there's news. But if you ask me, I think this thing, based on the 4 hour, is actually about to continue down into that zone. I think instead of just hitting the zone again, I think it's going to hit that low. All right, so I think it's going to hit that low, retest it, and then we'll see what happens. So that should be a good 40, 50 pips right there. If you guys are looking for pairs to trade, this will be a good one. It still looks good on the 4 hour. So what is this? 27 pips. My apologies. 4 hours a little different. But look for this thing to continue to sell and at least retest this low or go lower. GJ. This pair has been dropping for a minute now, and I said the same thing with this pair. This one correlates. It went up high, literally followed it to a T. This is exactly what we look for. It pulled back right to the water, and it continued the downtrend. So that's perfect. You guys notice it's actually divergent right now, which is giving me the idea that this thing can shoot up, come down, and then eventually reverse going into next week. So next week we should see some pullbacks on that, at least to this supply and demand zone right there. For the eventual continued push down. Let's look at the higher time frame real quick. All the higher time frames broke these lows. The next low that it has to test, guys, is right here. Right here. That's the next low. And there's no sign of this thing reversing right now or going back down. The weekly is actually going to be coming out. So if you guys look at this weekly, the weekly RSI is breaking out of the volatility band. If it does that, it's going to that oversold region, which is straight down next week into that support line. So we'll be seeing some nice movement from this pair going to next week. Let me see if I can calculate how many pips that is right here. So from where it's at right now down to that lowest black line is 286 pips, and this is GJ. So you guys should be catching a lot of pips on GJ as it continues that straight shot down. So be careful. Euro AUD. I told you guys beginning of this week that it was going to drop. Actually, towards last week, I said that it was going to be looking to drop. It did, and it's been consolidating ever since. The other night, we had it going up to the 4 hour blueberry, which it did. And I'm telling you guys right now that this is overall a pullback. This is all pullback consolidation. It takes out the recent low. Every time it takes out a recent low, it either pulls back or consolidates. In this case, you're seeing consolidation. If you guys have entered in on any trades on this for a sell, either up here or anywhere on this consolidation phase at all this week, wait for it to shoot up a little bit more. I'm telling you, keep selling this. Just hold it. Please, just hold EA. You guys can make a good amount of money on this thing. It's setting up very nicely. It still has plenty of room to go, and it's beneath the stationary 50 on the daily. The weekly still looks good. I think it has plenty of room to go down towards that water. So we're going to be seeing a lot of cool stuff, guys. So just be patient with it. Keep riding it out, and we'll come back to it. So wait for it to shoot up a little bit more. I still think it's going to have a little bit of room to shoot, and then we'll catch some more sell on. No. Sorry, I have a dog. No. Good boy. GZ. Yep, this is why we don't touch this pair. Look at that. It continued all the way up. What the hell? Oh my goodness. That's a big momentum shift right there. Bounce right off the Mayo. No. No. Don't go up there. Bounce off the Mayo. I think man, this is ridiculous. I honestly really don't like this pair. Look at that. Look at the weekly. Wicked right off of the water. It was perfect. And I do believe this overall will be a shot up. So see how it's been reversing here? Look, I'll zoom out. It's been kind of going up and going out. It's been throwing this positive wedge, just a bullish wedge, actually. This is all a wedge. This is a bullish wedge. So what's going to happen here is eventually it's going to break out of the trend, out of this consolidation phase that it's in. And it's going to shoot up. In retrospect, go right next to the next EMA. All right, so long term, I believe this pair is going to be shooting the fuck up. It just has to break out of this wedge right now, and eventually shoot up. So I'm going to say hold off on GZ until we finally get some clarity on where it's supposed to be going after it breaks out of these highs and lows. GA, let me move that here. GA pulled back right to the water. It's been consolidating. Now it's the same thing as EA. Look for it to shoot it back up a little bit. Mind you, this is still all pullbacks. This is still valid. This is still fine. Don't panic. It's not divergent. It's still good. This is just pulling back. Ideally, we're going to want to watch this thing go up towards the 4-hour water. This would be like a half Batman. Once it hits that water, you guys can re-enter for sells, let it come back down. You guys can catch hella pips. Because if it goes all the way up to that water, guys, which is going to be lined up with this daily high right here, it's going to drop another 200 pips. Easily. So hopefully you guys can catch that. So if you want to play this for a buy tonight for intraday traders or scalpers, you can do that. It's going to continue up to that 144 or the Mayo. So just be really patient. I did GZ. G Chief. We had this thing continuing last night, so it pulled up, hit that 1 hour, 15-minute water, the 1 hour red. I think I wanted it to go up to the water on the hour, actually, not the 15-minute, but it didn't. Instead, it consolidated, pulled up to the 1 hour catch up, and it dropped back down. I'm not sure if it threw any sauce, but we're about to find out. So let's see. It didn't really throw any sauce here, but it did shoot down and it continued. So, and it still is divergent too. We're gonna have to be patient on this pair. It's almost at the extreme oversold, semi-divergent. I don't know. I still think it has room to make some moves. I still think it's going to consolidate. Just hold off on G Chief because it's at an extreme low. The most I can say is continue with the sells, but it's at a point that it could reverse extremely hard. So just be very, very careful with that. It's just a lot of questionable things on G Chief. Would you consider EU throwing sauce last night? Where? On the hour?
Yeah, I think it's on the hour.
Yeah, right there. That's sauce.
All right, cool.
That's perfect. So that threw sauce right on the ketchup and the water, and it shot the fuck down. How many pips was that? I didn't see it. So if you would have entered here, nice 70 pip drop. Damn. It's more pips that you can get in a week of that pair. Let's go to UCAD. UCAD, I still think we had that the sells on it, but at the same time, this is UCAD. And it can do whatever the fuck it wants. It's extending that stop hunt high, and it's actually coming up to retest for that ugly, ugly, ugly head and shoulders. I still think it's going to be dropping, but we'll see how it goes. There's a reason why I don't play UCAD a lot. Oh, the 4 hour too. It's in between the EMAs. It could either shoot up to that Mayo on the 4 hour, then drop, or it could just shoot straight down to that low, hit that blueberry. So just be careful, UCAD. It's in the middle. Plus, there's This pair is gonna move like crazy tomorrow because there's there's CAD news and there's USD news at 8:30 Eastern time, 5:30 PST. So like, be really careful. Hey, it's just a motorcycle. Be really careful and understand that this is a very volatile pair, especially tomorrow. What? What? It's okay, buddy. It's okay. No, no, don't do it. Sorry. You're lucky that no one's here. I'll let you sit there for a second. 1 hour, 4 hour. Yeah, look at NZD cap. This thing just continues to just go. This is why I hate this pair. It's breaking all lows right now. Look, NZD cap. Pardon my French, but I don't care about this pair. All right, cool. So, does anybody have any questions? Again, reminder: tomorrow is trap day. There's a lot of news tomorrow morning, and just be careful. But I do see most of these pairs like EU, I do see GU, and I do see AU continuing their uptrends. Their news actually just happened for AU, and looks like nothing big actually happened. So we'll be seeing how this goes. I do expect this thing to shoot up though. So be on the lookout. We'll watch out, see if anything happens, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll come back and evaluate what happened at the end of this week. And we'll get ready for next week, for August. It's about to be insane. So everybody have a great night. I'll talk to you guys later, and enjoy the weekend. Peace out.